We are the Catalan Independentist Resistance, and you are listening to a new update from Radio Hadrian in Free Catalonia.
A true leader has to be ready to sacrifice everything for the freedom of its people, of their people. Nelson Mandela. Good afternoon, this is chapter 69 in Radio Hadrian. I'm DavidRaventos. In this wonderful adventure that we do in K Radio thanks to Cheryl Scott and Delia Forrest. This chapter is dedicated to Anabel Castañeda, a Catalan independence resistant that is exiled in Mexico because of the situation in the Catalan regime, and she was one of the first supporters of the fight that was personal back then. So this goes for you, Anabel, and thanks a lot for what you've done. Now we're a lot more people and we're doing great. This week we've started doing live direct in Facebook with over 6,000 people watching them. Also we started sending audios. We are gonna start facing people in three middle size towns in province of Barcelona and surroundings, and we are growing in support both in the networks and in real life. Today it's a special day. Thanks to the last Jacobites, I've been able to enjoy the All Under One Banner March, which has been in the tens of thousands, if I've got it right. I'm not trying to diminish the numbers. I'm getting the number from what I heard in the broadcast done by the last Jacobites. It was a pleasure to spread it in lots of Scottish and Catalan groups. And I have to tell you how many Catalan people have liked it. It was a pleasure to see a lot of indie Catalan flags in your march. And though we know that marches won't bring independence, it was so great to see so many thousands of Scottish people marching for independence. And we felt very close to you in this day, this 6th of October, which in year 1934 was also very special because Catalan Republic was declared, though it didn't last. This program, and we didn't have program 68 because I was coming back from a trip and I was feeling really, really tired and sick. We want to tell you of what's going on in Catalonia because most of what you get possibly is not accurate. We also want to comment what we learned in our trip to the Basque country last week. And so basically it's going to be about that. We also want to talk about Quebec briefly, and we also want to talk about what we discovered about Ireland. Not that it was said recently, but I personally discovered it recently, and it goes to explain what's going on in Catalonia and the images of unrest and these kind of things that are totally scripted. So we start by it. This week has marked the first anniversary of the referendum for independence, a referendum that should never have happened because we gave our politicians a mandate in the 27th of September of 2015. We gave them a mandate to declare independence in the next 18 months. That mandate was ignored. That's why I started a hunger strike for Scotland and Catalonia in May 2016. You know that the hunger strike was repressed and I was put in a mental ward and tortured for 62 days. I wouldn't have made it without Delia Forrest's help. And that should never have happened. And we know the information we have is that there was connivance between Madrid and Barcelona to hit people. More than 1,000 people were hurt. I've spoken with Roger Espanyol, which is the guy that lost one eye through a rubber bullet that day. And we, Director 68, made a communication based in 6 points. Point one was to honor the citizens that fought the occupation forces of Spain. The second was to condemn the attack on innocent unarmed civilians. But the third was also to decry the fact that the Catalan police did nothing to prevent the violence. The fourth was to express that referendum should never have happened because of the mandate they already had to declare independence. 5, to expose the fact that the new mandate given by 1st of October has been ignored with 2 fake declarations of independence, and then half the politicians ran away and the other half surrendered. And 6th point is to commit ourselves to declare independence in Parliament as soon as we get the 68 members of Parliament that we need to do that. That was the communication we sent to press the 1st of October, and we stand by it. You've seen on television the last days that there has been tension between demonstrations and all this. All this is staged. We've said it before. Referendums don't bring independence. My heart cries out when I see people demanding a second independence referendum for Scotland. Referendums don't bring independence, so it's not a good idea to ask for a second referendum. You were stolen the referendum first time around with the connivance of Nicola Sturgeon and Alex Salmond with the infamous Edinburgh Agreement, which left so many loopholes that were exposed, and then you know all about the abuse in postal vote, the blank ballot thing, the none of the procedures you should have done, no exit polls, nothing. So, but that referendum shouldn't have happened, and all the things are staged because they want to force international negotiation, international mediation, to force an agreed referendum onto our throats. And we real independentists, we don't want that. We already won. We want it declared in Parliament. We want rid of Spain after 300 years. So all you've seen is infiltrators with their face covered in something called the CDRs, which is the Committees de Defensa de la República. There's the Committees to Defend the Republic, but no republic was declared because it was a fake declaration. Thus, something called Committees to Defend the Republic, which is already lying in its name, nothing good can come of it. And that brings us to, so that's the plan. The plan is to build up the unrest, to give the international organizations an excuse to mediate. That will bring about an agreed referendum that will murder independence in Catalonia. Happily, we have Directa 68 in Catalonia, and things are going to end different because, and I opened this part with the international part of it. Last week, we went to Basque country, and we are proud to have met people who've been fighting for Basque independence for 50 years. And there we learned that ETA, and we learned that every official pro-Indi party and the most known people there, Ibarretxe and Otegi, everybody who's known for being on the pro-independent side happens to be a mole that works for Madrid. And that includes somebody that went to prison. So when you are crying for Catalan people in prison, you're crying for moles. We already explained that, and having confirmation from the Basque country was amazing. We're hoping to conduct interviews in this program in English, or find ways to do that, where people there can confirm that they've been infiltrated to the top, and now they've lost the majority for independence. They had a plan called the Ibarretxe plan some 10 years ago, but then they ended up without even not doing a referendum. So we know now that everything in the official pro-Indi Basque movement was farcical and was working undercover for Madrid. And that has given us tremendous strength, because the Basque case, as Catalonia and Basque country are forcefully into Spain yet, to be able to tell with examples from people that is not dubious about being pro-Indi, that all the official people we know there are moles. It has to end up bringing us to the truth in Catalonia, and putting those two together should help Scotland to realize you've been betrayed by your own side. So the Basque experience, getting together with the Basque resistance, and we hope to conduct some things. We expect that lots of good things will come from these meetings we had, and I have to tell you how special it was to be there representing the Catalan resistance. It felt historical, and it's something that it's going to help both our countries to get independence, and we want to merge the Scottish resistance into this. So if somebody wants to declare independence through unilateral declaration of independence, and it's away from the official parties, please get in contact with me through this program or Radio Hadrian page or Resistència Independentista Catalana page or Directa 68 page or the website directa68.cat. You have lots of ways to get in contact with me. We really need somebody to set up a real Scottish resistance far away from the mainstream SNP. I was going to say a word which I'm not. Let's say away from the SNP. So the Basque experience has been very, very confirming of what I know, and our person there, our contact person there has gone through the same experiences I've gone for denouncing the infiltration. They've made his life miserable, and that's why when he listened to Radio Hadrian in its in Spanish version, he realized that the cases were the same, that the official process is a lie. And I cannot emphasize enough the fact that linking those two resistances together, and then the Scottish one, and if we can the Irish one, and if we can the Quebecois one, will make us realize how we've been had in every other way. In this program I want to mention two other independence movements that have been had. As you know, Quebec was having a referendum for independence in 1980, and then in 1995 they lost independence for less than a point. Well, elections in Quebec this week have brought down the worst defeat for the pro-independence party in Quebec. They even lost their own parliamentary group. And that's what happens when you lose the chance for independence. You might lose it forever. And we don't have still proof, but we know about some shenanigans and some tension, some teeth inside the Quebec side before the referendum, and these things might have been infiltration. We need to follow that trade. So if there's somebody listening who's Quebecois independentist, please contact me as well, because we really want to put this international resistance together. We're doing it already. Knowing somebody from Quebec would be amazing. And the other thing that has come to my attention this week was an interview with a former Prime Minister of Ireland. I don't recall the name now. The important thing is he confirmed there were highly advanced conversations with the British government in 1938-1939 to end the partition between Ulster and Republic of Ireland, as it's known now. And then, you know what happened? The IRA, or better said, some British infiltrators in the IRA started a bombing campaign in London. And that was the end of the conversations to end the partition. And then again, it makes us realize we already know that the IRA was infiltrated to the top. When it was dismantled, half the running committee were MI5, MI6 agents. We've read that Gerry Adams and Martin McGuinness, the late Martin McGuinness, didn't work for Ireland. And we know all this. And the IRA was part of the Gladio movement, the Gladio operation of NATO, same as ETA was, the Brigate Rose and Baader-Meinhof band in Germany. But this goes to confirm how we are always betrayed by our own side to make things impossible, because the powers that be control every independence movement in Western countries. And that's why Quebec independence movement is all but dead. The time has passed for the Basque, and they need to rebuild the majority. Scotland was betrayed by their own side and in referendum in 2014. And Ireland couldn't end the partition in the 30s because an infiltrated campaign through the IRA started bombing London. In Catalonia, we're still standing, and we have Directa 68. And we are gonna unveil the enormous fraud that the Catalan process is, where every party organization in Catalonia is run by Spanish moles. And and that's how we stand. We're gonna bring independence to Catalonia, and then when the world learns that our own side was betraying us, left, right, and center, people in Scotland and people in other countries will finally accept that you've been had by your own side, and you can change things and you can reverse the thing that is waiting for us. In Catalonia, the mockery is absolute, and I don't want to get very local or very petty, but the main joking program is called Polonia here, and they made one gag, which is that sketch with Hitler where he's screaming at people and all. They made that, but it's the Catalan people screaming against the politicians. But in the end, they sent the police to hit the people. And another one says about a table game called The New Republic, which is supposed to be full of statehood and international recognition, but when they open the box, it's empty. That the Catalan television is mocking the pro-India side so blatantly means that they've already decided they've killed independence, and they think they can mock us blatantly. Well, we're not letting that happen, and we're gonna declare independence because they didn't count that there would be a people movement that would make things happen. The last point today is gonna be about the stolen generation of people of mixed descent in Australia. Again, thanks to Delia Forrest, it came to my knowledge, and I apologize for not having known before, the enormity of the genocide on the Aboriginee people in Australia once Cook set foot on it in the 18th century, and how they were treated not as humans. The real inhabitants in Australia were considered subhuman, and the land there was considered res nullius, or as it's belonging to nobody. Most of the mines in Australia are in native owned land, but they've been dispossessed of it. But as if that wasn't enough, and they've broken into their lifestyles, and they are disproportionately put in prison, and they're disproportionately addicted to substances or alcohol. If that wasn't bad enough, for almost 100 years, from the end of the 19th century till the 70s, there were laws and there was a scheme to kidnap and steal children from mixed origin, mixed background, to be put in church organizations or with white families. That is a crime against humanity, done systematically in Australia. We only give a few brushstrokes of it because that's something that requires going much more into detail. And in this first round of topics related to children, because as we said in the sentence of Kennedy, we want a free Catalonia that is gonna be putting example in the treatment of children. Because children are being abused in so many different ways all over the world that we cannot allow that to go the way it goes now. So in this thing of the stolen generation, we're gonna keep going into it in next programs. We're also gonna open a theme on geoengineering, on how they can change the climate and even provoke earthquakes. Recently, Mexican farmers have stopped Volkswagen because Volkswagen was avoiding rain to protect it falling on their parked cars or something as awful as this. So we're gonna start giving you some glimpse of geoengineering, because we are proud to have some people expert on geoengineering joining the Catalan resistance. And we're proud today, I cannot mention the name, but I met one of the most incredible persons in the whole world, which happens to be Catalan and pro-independence. It's a genius that could change the world. And I cannot explain how special it was to share 2 hours speaking with this person. It's been a pleasure as always being with you. We are growing in support in Catalonia and we're gathering information of other independence movements. Together we are stronger. We are stronger together, but not in the British sense of it, in the campaign to keep you British. But we need to put all our nations together, all the information together, because the protocols they use against us are very similar. They infiltrate to the top layers of our pro-indie parties, and then they make mistakes, or they don't declare independence, or they have a majority, or they lose referendums on progress. We are sure we're going to declare independence. It's Directa 68 who's going to declare it. I'm sure I'm going to be one of the persons in Parliament declaring it, and that will open the door to a free Scotland. So today, more than ever, in this special day where thousands of Scottish people have marched in Scotland, Saur Aluba Gubra, I visca Catalunya lliure.
This has been another update from the Catalan Independentist Resistance from Radio Hadrian. Remember that you can follow us on social media, either on Facebook, YouTube, our Twitter account, Instagram, Google, Telegram, and also on iVoox.